wow, so Alex and Joe were apparently soulmates now, huh? Watching those episodes after Alex went to jail and Joe finally decided to accept his ring is like a crash course in true lovedom. She even says he wants her last name because no one has ever loved her like he does. Yeah, that's pretty deep. Then they go on these romantic dates, run through parks, have these quickie montage moments, and it's like, whoa, he left her for Izzy? Seriously? I get it, the actor wanted out, so they had to write him off, but they really milked the love story angle. I mean, this is the kind of love that rivals Meredith and Derek's eternal bond. Like, we get it. They love each other so much that it's almost painful to watch. Honestly though, I hate how they handled Alex's exit. I low-key would have preferred they just killed him off instead of making it this tragic dumpster fire of an ending. His whole arc with Joe was actually about growth, and then they just tossed that out. It made his departure feel so much worse because you could feel how real their love was. Joe absolutely deserved better than a goodbye letter though. I mean, come on, a letter? Really? And don't even get me started on Grey's obsession with showing every doctor's personal drama. Like, seriously, does every relationship need to be on screen all the time? They had the perfect chance to keep Alex off screen and still mention him. He's thriving at a different hospital, visiting his mom, living his life, fine, whatever. But no, instead, they drag Joe around, turning her into this wandering, underused character. She could have been a strong, career-focused woman, still married to Kirev, with a few mentions of him popping in now and then, maybe even to tease a baby Kirev storyline. They didn't need to do her dirty like this. I honestly think the writers just dropped the ball on Joe's character. Yeah, I know Justin Chambers wanted to leave, but they could have handled it way better, like they did with Christina. Just have Alex working at another hospital, off-screen, but still with Joe. They could have done so much more with her character, without the whole, let's ruin Joe's storyline for dramatic effect arc. Seriously, I'm just at the part where Alex leaves in my rewatch, and I'm so annoyed. Joe and Alex felt like the ending couple, and all that growth, all those seasons of work, just to have it all sour for. What? A letter? The predating best friend phase was so sweet and real. I can't even. Christina Yang basically slapped me across the face with reality. Don't let what he wants eclipse what you need. He's very dreamy, but he's not the sun. You are. Oh wow, that line? Total game changer. Suddenly, I couldn't stop thinking about it. Is he the special one? Or am I the one who's been making everything happen? Am I letting my needs slip through the cracks for him? I kept repeating to myself, I'm the sun, I'm the sun, I'm the sun. And then, out of nowhere, the out appeared. After months of desperately hoping to be seen, trying to convince myself that I could measure up to his past, I realized something. Christina Yang, in all her glorious wisdom, had lit a fire in me. A fire so bright that it burned through all the things I thought I loved about him. And guess what? Those things were always mine to begin with. I made everything special. I am extraordinary. If he can't handle my shine, if he can't appreciate the brilliance I bring to the table, then fine. I'll find a place where I can actually flourish. Does it hurt? Yeah. Do I want to be sedated right now? Absolutely. Part of me even hopes that one day, when he finally figures his stuff out, we can reunite. But for now, I'm going to bask in my own damn sunlight. For once, I'm not dimming myself down to make room for someone else's shine. I'm the sun, and it's high time I remember that. Oh, and shout out to Christina Yang for being the true heart of Grey's Anatomy. I've used her wisdom to counsel my 8th graders, especially when they get way too obsessed with their boyfriends. Trust me, they all need a little Christina Yang in their lives. Honestly, I never thought I'd miss a TV character this much. And speaking of Christina, that bathroom scene with Owen. Classic. After she finds out he cheated, she drops this bomb. I have an MD and a PhD. I'm a freaking cardiothoracic surgeon. I'm supposed to be studying for my boards, the most important exam of my life, and I'm locked in a bathroom, crying over a boy. How perfect is that? She remembers her worth in the most glorious, sarcastic way, and I live for it. Okay, so I just finished Good American Family, and shocker, I noticed a ton of Grace fans tuning in because, well, Ellen Pompeo. But seriously, am I the only one who thinks her role as Christine is basically just Meredith, but evil? Like, it's hard not to watch her and think, wow, so Meredith Grey went off the deep end and started throwing people under the bus. Same vibe, just with a darker twist. You can tell she didn't even bother changing it up. Now, I hate to admit it, but I kind of enjoy her as a villain. That guest role in Law and Order? Seriously, it was some of the best acting I've seen from her. Maybe she's just better when she's allowed to be a little bad, but of course, not everyone agrees. One person was like, nope, never saw Meredith in Christine. And while I respect that, let's be real, some of y'all might just be struggling to separate the two roles. It's not that deep. Personally, I thought Ellen nailed Christine in the last episode. But why did the show even give Christine and Michael's side of the story any airtime? They were so full of it, especially Michael. Honestly, it was a missed opportunity to focus on Natalia's side of things. Would have been a much better narrative. I mean, they made Christine way too likable in the first few episodes, and with Ellen's Grey's background, it just felt wrong. On the other hand, I was kind of impressed by Ellen in Good American Family. Didn't feel like Meredith at all, and I found myself genuinely disliking her. Guess that's a win for her, huh? I'm torn on this one, but I can definitely see a few things playing out. If Azada Washington hadn't been asked to leave, I think it's possible that Christina and Burke would have gotten married, but would it have lasted? That's a different story. I could see her going through with the wedding, only to regret it immediately, realizing that being with Burke wasn't really her dream, and eventually walking away. It would have been a bittersweet split, kind of like what we saw with Christina and Owen. Burke was all about tradition, the big church wedding, the family values, pleasing his mom. He even ended up married with kids, so yeah, I think the whole wanting children thing would have come up. But here's the thing, Christina? She never wanted to have kids, and Burke would have pushed her on that. You could see it. His mom would have pressured them to start a family ASAP. And Christina didn't even want to move in with him, so it's clear that marriage wouldn't have been her happily ever after. Plus, Burke answering her phone when her landlord called about her flooded apartment? Total red flag. A mama's boy who's already controlling and overbearing with a woman like Christina. That's a recipe for disaster. So while I think short-term, yes, they would have gotten married, long-term, definitely not. Christina's independence would clash too much with Burke's expectations. It's almost like their struggles were a preview of what we'd later see with Owen, just on a different timeline. At the end of the day, Christina would have realized she couldn't be with someone who changed her too much, and she'd walk away. Oh, absolutely. Season 14, Episode 7. Now that's where the show should have just wrapped up. It was practically perfect. Meredith snagged a Harper Avery. Alex and Joe were finally in a good place. Amelia had her brain figured out, and she and Owen were just, like friends, no drama. Bailey was chief, and the hospital got a much-needed facelift. Sure, Ben and Bailey were a bit rocky, but they could have thrown in a heart-to-heart and called it a day. Everything was neatly tied up in a bow. It could have ended right there. Boom, done. We could have said our goodbyes, buried the show, and walked away with a smile. A nice, peaceful conclusion. Now, before you come at me, let me just say, I am a ride or die Grace fan. I'll watch this mess until the day I die, especially since they're clearly going to keep making episodes until the end of time. But honestly, if it ended there, we would have missed out on gems like the special cookie episode. You know, the one where we learn the delightful news about Dr. Harper Avery's history of sexual assault. Ah, yes, one of my absolute favorite episodes, mainly because of everyone's priceless reactions after accidentally consuming the cookies. Alex and Maggie, hilarious, comedy gold. Alright, buckle up, because here's my controversial take. Lexi Gray, meh. Never understood the Lexi love, honestly. People act like her death was the most tragic thing to ever happen on Grey's Anatomy, but for me, nah, it didn't hit anywhere near as hard as George's or Derek's. You know, the actual impactful deaths. Anybody else feel this way, or am I just that cold-hearted? Let's be real. Lexi was designed to be everyone's favorite little doe-eyed intern, the sweet baby of the show. She's the quirky, adorable one, with scenes constantly thrown at her and the hottest guy in the hospital. But despite all that, I couldn't care less. Yeah, the actress does a solid job, but her character? Zero growth, personally or professionally. And don't get me started on the fact she was only on the show for 4 seasons. Not exactly a lot of time for meaningful development, right? If she'd stuck around longer and maybe got some actual storylines beyond being Lexipedia and pining over men, maybe I would have liked her more. And by the way, I'm currently in season 6, and honestly, you could cut Lexi out completely, and it wouldn't change a thing. Her character is so underdeveloped, it's almost impressive. We mostly get her love life, which is thrilling, I'm sure. And sure, she has the Lexipedia thing going. But outside of that, not much to work with. Meanwhile, I can feel the absence of George and Izzy. Those two actually had depth and stories that mattered. So yeah, Lexi just doesn't measure up, no matter how much some fans want to pretend she's the heart and soul of the show. Alright, here's my theory on Amelia's current story arc and the next 2 episodes, and yes, spoiler alert for tonight's episode. So here's the prediction. That little girl. Yeah, she's definitely going to die next week. It's basically a lock. And then, in the season finale, the mom, she's going to completely lose it. I mean, they're making it pretty obvious that the finale is going to be this massive edge-of-your-seat moment. This whole storyline is giving serious shooter episode vibes, like when that guy went full postal after his wife died. So my bet is that this mom will go full Gary Clark and target Amelia while she's performing a surgery in the finale. I'm praying that Amelia somehow survives, and we finally get that Katarina/Amelia storyline we've all been begging for in season 22. And hey, maybe we'll also finally learn who Lucas's mom is. The fans have been screaming for more Amelia and Katarina, and if this is the payoff, I'll take it. Now, before anyone jumps in, I'm not saying this mom is going to go full Gary Clark and shoot up the hospital, targeting Amelia like he did Derek. Please, no more of that PTSD-inducing mess. I'm still not over that tragedy, but yeah, I could totally see a knife-wielding standoff. Though honestly, I hope not. My dream scenario for the finale? The wedding. Yeah, Joe and Link's wedding falls apart, and we get some chaos with kids and pregnancies at risk. It's classic Grey's. But please, no more shootings. We've done that. Let's not repeat it. Oh wow, where do I even start? First off, I can't believe you're having this epiphany in Season 7, Episode 9. You've been holding it together this long, and now you're here for the rant. And trust me, I get it. So, Alex Karev. Yeah, I'm probably one of the rare few who actually liked him too, before this scene. Sure, he's been a jerk. A total ass at times, but deep down, I thought, okay, this guy has layers. But then, this happened. This was the moment I was like, Alex, what the hell happened to you? Let's talk about April. When she first showed up, I was right there with you. She was annoying, and I literally cheered when she got fired. But then, Derek brings her back, and I just sighed like, oh great, here we go again. But weirdly, I kind of softened toward her over time. I still didn't like her fully, but I didn't hate her anymore. But this scene, watching her open up to Alex, asking him to take things slow, and then he just totally ruins it. Oh, my blood was boiling. You could practically hear me yelling, don't kiss her, don't kiss her. And what does he do? Bam, they kiss. She's so vulnerable and honest, and he's just a total monster about it. The way he treated her, it was disgusting. She trusted him and he crushed her. I honestly felt so sorry for her, and I was this close to being done with Alex. I mean, how could you watch that and not think, I'm done with him? But of course, I'm a sucker for drama, so I'm not skipping ahead, yet. But seriously, this scene, slay me. What pissed me off even more is how it was basically swept under the rug after one episode. Like really? He gets to just tell Meredith why he acted like a complete jerk, but never faces April to explain himself. She deserves an explanation. I would have wanted one. If I were April, there's no way I could work with him after that. But the show gives us this resolved moment with Meredith, and it's just like, nope, doesn't sit right with me. April was made the punchline of everyone's joke, and I hated it. That was just not it. And yeah, I get it. Season 7 is all about trauma from the shooting, and Alex is reverting to the same old defense mechanism of being a total prick. But still, the way this played out, not cool. But hey, at least he gets a nice little face punch for it, which was, let's be honest, the highlight of the whole thing. And, before I forget, yes, he does get better, so stick with it. But man, this was not his finest moment. Anyway, thanks for letting me vent with you. Hopefully you're still hanging in there despite Alex's disastrous moment. It's so true. The timeline with Teddy and Owen is all over the place. I'm also rewatching Grey's Anatomy, Maternity Leave Life, right? And the flashback episode with Allison really got me thinking about the math. So if Teddy was a first-year attending in 2001, she'd have been about 31 or 32. Assuming she went straight through school, residency, and maybe a fellowship, that adds up. But then, she has Allison in 2019, which makes her 49 or 50. Having a baby at that age is rare, and if they really wanted to go there, they could have made advanced maternal age a big part of her storyline. Yet, they didn't even touch on that. And of course, let's not forget Adele's pregnancy at 53, which is already pushing the limits. But Teddy, she casually drops the geriatric pregnancy line at the end, and it just doesn't feel like they explored that part of her life at all. If they'd given Teddy even a fraction of the attention they gave Meredith over the years, I'm sure her character would be much more beloved. There were some real gems with Teddy's potential storylines, but instead, we get a baby tossed in as an afterthought. Missed opportunity for sure. So, Spencer's dad, anyone else think we'll be seeing more of him? I have a hunch we will. I mean, maybe Jules or Winston will have to break the news to the poor guy that his charming father stole his rent money when Spencer was literally on the brink of death. And let's not forget, Jules was right about this guy all along. He's a total jerk. Is he an alcoholic too? I mean, he used that stolen rent money to buy himself a drink. Real class act, huh? And speaking of family dysfunction, Jules' parents, anyone? Sure, she didn't grow up in a picture-perfect home, because, surprise, her parents were drug-addicted hippies. But when Jules talks about how her dad made her drive when she was 10 and high, and then took her along to get drugs. Yikes. Jules' parents should have lost custody of her, and probably any other children they had. It's honestly a miracle she turned out as well as she did. I honestly didn't realize just how messed up they were until she shared that. Now, on to the real plot twist. Everyone's expecting the little girl's parents to be the mass shooters, but maybe that's a red herring. The whole ground falling out from under you moment before they cut to Winston had me thinking he was about to be confronted over the assault. Instead, we get Jules passed off to Weber, and then that weird Dylan scene. But honestly, I think the main point here is showing how much Jules and Winston have in common, especially when it comes to their backstories.